Hold on, real quick. Listen, this is the Gray Area Podcast.
Let's go.
Yes, back again like we never left. It's MOD, Guru Dane. This is the Gray
Hello.
Area. Every Sunday, we have a very important guest, and this Sunday is no different. This Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, we got Craig Dyer with us. Let's go.
Appreciate it.
What's going on, brother?
I'm good. You?
Same old, man. Same old two-step. A lot of spring cleaning on this end. I was just putting taking the bunk beds apart and putting them together again with my son. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff around the house, man. How's your week? How's everything been going?
Yeah, good. I've had a busy week, artwork and stuff. So today I've just had a day off, chilled out, watched football, soccer, what we call soccer here. Y'all call soccer, sorry. We call football.
Right.
So yeah, I've just watched football all day and chilled out because I've been a bit crazy since January. So I've not had much time to chill out.
Nah, yeah, man. You had a crazy year, bro. You've been really cooking, man.
Yeah.
You've been really cooking. I was just watching the recap, and I was like, damn. Like, I know that I've seen your work everywhere. Like, for the past couple years, I've seen your work everywhere, right? But last year, it was really like, yo, hyperdrive. We on the highway. We doing 90. You know what I'm saying? All gas, no brakes. You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Got to be done, hasn't it? Got to be done.
Nah, for sure. Listen, somebody can do it.
Yeah, I don't know how long. It's one of them where you're like, you don't know how long people are going to fuck with your artwork, are going to want your artwork. So take advantage of putting your artwork out there while you can, if that makes sense. Because you know what it's like. People change opinions and move on to the next one before so quickly that you just got to take advantage of them situations.
No, absolutely. Shoot the gap while you can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think, real quick, for the listeners who don't know, just introduce yourself and just tell them a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to get right back into where we are.
Craig Dyer, Dyer Art and Design. Do a lot of cover work for quite a lot of the underground musicians in what people call the Abyss. For the last few years, from the UK, for the last few years, I've been doing quite a lot of artwork for people that you're probably going to know. Might not realise it's me that's done it, but yeah, basically that's it.
For sure. Listen, all right, so explain to me, I mean, obviously, you know, when we're children, we go to school, they put the art, they put the watercolors in front of us. That's all of our first art influence. But what was your first influence where you were like, you know, this is what I want to do?
I've always just drawn. I don't know where it came from. Even going back to being young as I can remember, I've always just drawn pencil work, biro work, things like that. And then I decided probably about 10 years ago that I was moving into my first house and I wanted to get more professional work I thought you can't really hang sketch drawings up and things like that in your house. I wanted to get more professional work, and I just Googled what people use for professional work, and it were acrylics, oils. So I just basically went down that path, picked some acrylics up and started painting some of my favourite musicians at the time for my house. And then it weren't really, it didn't really take off straight away. It was just stuff that I was doing and putting out there on the internet and on Instagram and my Facebook page and stuff. And I was only doing about 6-7 paintings a year, just gradually keeping going, making sure I was still doing some. And then it wasn't until really Griselda, finding out all about the underground scene and realising that music was still out there, because like in the mainstream it took a massive shift.
For sure.
So that kind of influenced me to go heavy on painting again and really increase them numbers basically.
Nah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you know what, we talk about it a lot. How, you know, even just 6 years ago, or I'd say maybe a little bit longer than that, it's 2024 now. 8-10 years ago, people didn't want to hear lyrical rap. They weren't signing nobody,
they didn't. No.
And they was telling dudes who was over a certain age, hang it up. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a beautiful thing that the resurgence happened, and I also find beauty in the fact that you're able to you know, accommodate this whole kind of wave of underground art with the optics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Can you
got
speak
to.
to? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I've
No, no,
got
no, no.
to applaud Sepp as well, because like Sepp were big, like seeing his work and seeing what he were doing. It were like a big thing where I realised art was a thing again as well. Because like at one point it were all photos and stuff on covers, and then seeing art on covers as well. I was like, yeah, I'm getting back into this. I'm going to see if I can make a go of it. If I don't, I'm still enjoying painting. So it was just one of them.
Right. Can you speak to just perseverance? Like I remember you saying just a little bit earlier, you started doing it just for you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So can you speak to just, sticking with it and the passion for it, sticking with it through everything? I know, listen, as artists, any type of artist, any artist who's listening, we have our ups and downs, right?
yeah,
So
definitely.
can you speak to just, sticking with it or like pushing yourself to go back to the canvas even when you might not want to?
Yeah, there's times where you don't want to paint, but once you actually pick up the paintbrush and you start doing it, you realise that you were just in a slump, if that makes sense. You were just like, yeah, you're just in one of them moods for that day. As soon as you pick that paintbrush up, it makes you feel better. It don't make you paint any worse. It don't me personally. It don't make you paint any worse. You're just in that slump where you're like, yeah, I really don't want to do it today, but then you just do it anyway.
Right.
But yeah, you've got to do it for yourself first. You've got to paint for yourself first, and then do artwork that you want to do. And then if people recognise it and want to use you from there, then that's the main thing.
Right. So real quick to what you said, man, it's like if you do something that you don't want to do and you still do it anyway, there's a large benefit to your brain, right? It's like you didn't want
Yeah,
to do that, but you persevered through it. You're telling your
yeah,
brain, it's like, nah, we got to kick into overdrive regardless.
exactly,
So that's
exactly.
dope.
Yeah, especially when there's deadlines and stuff. Like you haven't got time to have them off days. You haven't got time to chill out and just think, nah, I'm going to leave it a while. If you're having an off day, you still got to do it. You've got deadlines to meet. You've got people expecting out on certain dates or times. You just got to do it. And yeah, it's one of the best things you can do because it just gets you through that slump of that feeling where you can't be bothered.
I feel like number one, the most successful people and also the most concise artists are the people who do push through, because I find that when I don't want to record, when I don't want to do something that is creative, and I, like you're saying, when I do push forward with it, not only do I find, like you said, I feel better afterwards, but I also find that the artwork may be a little bit better than if I'm
Yeah,
just kind of, stepping into it regularly.
yeah, definitely. It's just like when you don't. I don't know if you work out good at gym. It's just like when you don't
Yeah.
want to go to gym. Them days you go to gym, you seem to do so much more. It's just the
1,000%.
same, exactly the same thing.
With the gym example, it's like for me, it's like I want to go to the gym every day, so I don't get the
Yeah,
benefit of doing something that my brain doesn't want to do. Like I might get the body benefit, but there is truly a
yeah,
benefit to doing things that you say, "Oh man, I don't want it," but the fact that you still did, you know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
I feel like that speaks to human nature, and this, I don't know, maybe it's like a silenced, or it comes from like maybe a silenced or a lower survival kind of skill. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think
Yeah,
so.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
that
think
I'm sure
so.
that back in the day they didn't want to leave the camp and then go hunt and run, and you know what I'm saying? Like, who the hell wants
Right,
to
yeah,
yo,
do
why
that?
would I leave this safety of like this community I built? But you must. I gotta go get food. I gotta go take care of.
yeah,
Like you said, I have to, and so to do it anyway gives you a supreme sense. I feel like a sense of like, regardless, we getting it.
Listen, any artist who's listening, just push through. You're having an off day, just push through, man. It's the gray area we work in.
yeah. Definitely, it's got to be done.
You know. Where are you from specifically in the UK?
Yorkshire. So we've got different areas in the UK. So we've
We
got
was
down
over there.
south, which is with London and everything, and Yorkshire. It's more up north. Class it as up north.
Is it close to Leeds?
Yeah, really close to Leeds.
Oh,
About
okay.
I live about 30 minutes from Leeds in a car journey.
Oh, all right.
We
So
weren't
yeah,
too
we
far
was
from there. We weren't too.
right. It was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. We went to the UK and we touched down in London, Birmingham, and we went up to Leeds to check
Yeah,
one of our
yeah. So
producer bros.
so Leeds is like 30, 40 minutes away maximum in a car journey. So yeah, it's really close. I live that's classed as West Yorkshire, I believe. I'm in South Yorkshire.
Interesting. What's the hip hop scene like there?
We've got a few musicians out here that's really good. A lot go down the grime and drill scene, which is not really my thing.
Okay.
But then there is a lot that do the authentic sounding hip hop. I did a cover for somebody called Matic Mouth last year. He's in Sheffield, so he's like the next town on from me. I like Sheffield's my closest city. So I did a cover for him. There's a few other musicians that I've done work for. TMO Trips, he's in London. And then just a few that I like, Juggernaut, Capo, Vandal Savage, they're in Nottingham, which is about 40 minutes away from me as well. So there's quite a lot of good musicians. To Fly Hooligan, really like his music. There is quite a few musicians that are doing the type of hip hop that I listen to, but it's not as popular as it is in the US underground scene.
So let me ask you: did you notice the dip in popularity when it came to lyrical rap, or has it always kind of maintained?
There is people that have always done the lyrical side of things, but they don't really like even on the grime and drill scene. But it's just the sound I don't particularly like as much as the authentic hip hop sound.
Like boom bap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. But like even in the grime scene, there were people like Wretch 32 and Kano that really still did the lyrical side of things.
Right. Yeah. Now I'm familiar with Kano.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Juggernaut too. I saw that you had some footage of a Juggernaut show. You know
Yeah. Well, one of he's in a Juggernaut's in a group called VVV with Capo and Vandal Savage. And Capo, it was his album launch party, so he got Juggernaut and Vandal Savage up on stage for one of his tracks. But yeah, if you're familiar with Juggernaut, check them two guys out as well. They're really good.
Can you describe to me like what the first hip hop influence was? You know what I'm saying? So maybe you with your friends, whatever. The first scenario when you was like, "Yo, what is that?"
Yeah. I think I've always been drawn to like rapping in songs, even when I was like a kid and I didn't really know genres and everything.
Right.
Like different crap Euro dance music that had rapping on the tracks, like Two Unlimited and Culture Beat and stuff like that, which are quite crap when you look back now. I don't know if you know Mr. Vane and stuff like that. You'll have to Google it. I'll send you a link. It's crap Euro dance music, but it still had an MC on it.
Right.
And I was still drawn to that. But then the real thing that turned my head was the Street Fighter soundtrack. So I was about 11 when the film came out. I loved Van Damme films and what have you, and action films. And the film came out, and then that Street Fighter soundtrack, I bought it, and it had Nas, Ice Cube, Farside, LL Cool J, I think's on there. It's had them all on there basically, and I just got into it from there. I was like, "What is like this music?" I already was familiar with a rapping style, but I didn't know hip hop as a genre, if that makes sense, and that kind of opened my eyes up.
For sure, that makes a lot of sense. And you know what? That's one of the perfect places to find it in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? It's like on a soundtrack album because, like you said, for these young kids who might be listening, there was a point in time where movies were directly backed by soundtracks. Songs you heard in the movies, the movie would drop and then the soundtrack would drop. And you know, if you really liked the movie, you'd go buy the soundtrack.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I remember. It's funny that you mentioned Street Fighter, bro. I remember when it came out. I remember going to the theater and not getting in the first time because it was fucking sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you know, like, at the time it like I watched that film 3 or 4. I went to the cinema about 3 or 4 times to watch that. I absolutely loved it. And you know, I tried watching it back a couple of years back, and I was like, "Wow, this is absolutely trash."
It's horrible.
Yeah. And you know, not all Van Damme's films have aged that badly, but that one is absolutely terrible.
I feel like that was what 95, 96, maybe something like that.
It will have been about then. Yeah, that's when
about that, right?
Yeah, about 94, I reckon. Yeah.
I feel like that had to be like not the tail end of his career, but he must have been slowing down at that point. Or maybe he was at the height of his career, and they was like, "Yo, take this shit. It's going to be a blockbuster." And
well, he was meant to be coked up all the way through it, wasn't he? So like during all the film, and he was meant to be on coke all the way through it. I've read. So we were like high as fuck all the way through filming that film, which explains a lot when you watch it back.
Yo, fucking action movies in the 90s, man. You know what? It's like you said, you watch them 25 years later, and it's almost pure comedy. It's almost pure comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I don't know if you know someone called Slack. He's big on Twitter. I think he's got his own podcast as well. But I was just talking to him on Twitter the other day on about soundtracks and like how they don't do them anymore, really. Because now it's just like if a film comes out, they'll make a little playlist on Spotify with about 3 or 4 tracks on it. That's about it. You don't get a proper soundtrack anymore.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it hurts the movie because if you think about it, a decent soundtrack in the movie and then selling and promoting the soundtrack after the movie, I'm gonna buy this CD, right? Let's say we back in the 90s. I'm gonna buy this CD after I really like this movie. I'm going to play this CD because it's got some of my favorite songs on it. It could be 2, 3, 4 years from now. I'm still playing this CD, and now I'm going back to buy the movie, or I'm reminiscing about the movie. It's
exactly.
Good. It's good marketing, you know. And I feel like we've come a long way in the sense of convenience. You know, when people want things now, instant gratification, but just everything is empty, man. I feel like a lot of things are empty. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Was it hard getting music in England, or like explain to me the time? Like, okay, so if Ice Cube dropped this day, how long would it take for you guys to get that CD where you're in your town?
We'd get it pretty much straight away, the big artists. But then there were people when there was a time I got into certain, like I go through phases when I discover new music. So there was a time I got into No Limit Records releases, and I had to get all them on import. So I couldn't get them from my local shop. I had to ring the actual shop up, order them on import, go back about a week later, and they'd have them in. We had music magazines over here, so we had Source and Hip Hop Connection and XXL when it eventually came out. So like I discovered a lot of music through that and Your MTV Raps. Even though the actual show side of things had stopped, they still had the channel on in England where they'd just play non-stop music, basically. It was still called Your MTV Raps, and they'd still play non-stop music all the way through. So I discovered most of mine through that and Source magazine, basically.
Do you smoke weed? I don't know.
No, I don't know. No, I've never done it.
Never? Okay, cool.
No.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've only ever drank. I've never done any drugs at all. I know some people don't class certain things as drugs, but I've never done anything just because I've always had... it's not got bad. It's got easier as I've got older, but I've always had like a bit of anxiety when I'm not in control of myself. Even certain nights when I was younger and I used to drink, I'd wake up and I'd be like, I'd get anxiety from that. So I'd tend to just... I have to be in control, if that makes sense. So
makes 100%. Makes 100%.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. So this is a hip hop podcast, but it's not really a hip hop podcast. You mentioned going to the gym. Can you break down just how exercising has helped you, and then a little bit about your routine?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I first started going to the gym when I was about 24. I dabbled when I was about 18, 19. But when I first started going properly, I was about 24 years old, and I went to get a good physique, basically. That was the real reason I started going. And then I stayed going. And I've gone for all this time just for the mental side of things, for the social aspect side of things. Going at gym, having a laugh with people that I know in there. And just when you go in, kind of be having a shitty day. You go in, you come out, and you feel 1,000 times better. So I've always gone just for that side of things, really. The physique side is just a bonus now, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. I hear a lot of people say, and when I work out, I do feel mentally sharper. I'm not as cloudy. I have more energy, and I just feel maybe happier. I feel happier.
Yeah, definitely. So I do that like 5 times a week. I go to the gym 5 times a week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I play football, soccer still once a week. I used to play a lot more, but I'm getting a bit older now, and I can't. My legs can't take it. But yeah, I used to play about 3-4 times a week. Now I just play once, which is we've got full-side football here, and then we've also got like a Sixers league, which is 6-a-side football. I don't know if you have similar things for sports over there, but it's just 6v6. I still play in that league on a Tuesday.
Right.
So that's kind of my fitness regime. I do all the different. So the gym, I'll do Mondays. So it's mainly back day. Then Tuesdays is chest and arms, and then Thursdays is legs. Fridays is another back session. Saturdays is shoulders.
My hat off to you, man, because I just got into it maybe last year, and I bought a stationary bike, and I've been able to knock some pounds off, man. And you know what I've realized? It's all about discipline, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all about discipline, and like with anything else, you know, that you want to be successful at, how bad do you want it? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
That's a fact.
So what would be your advice for anybody who's just starting out getting into exercising?
Don't expect quick results. Don't
Mhm.
think you're just going to wake up one tomorrow and you'll be like in best shape in the world. Because I think a lot of people end up going down like the substance route and taking things because they don't see it overnight.
Right.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and
You got to give yourself that time, right? To
yeah,
actually put it. You know what? Real quick to even what we do, it's about compound effect. It's a book about the compound effect of anything. So like if you the guy that says I'm gonna just go for an hour versus the guy that says I'm gonna go for 5 hours. Like the guy that says
Yeah.
5 hours, he's probably gonna quit. But you
Yeah.
consistent. You give yourself a little bit. You do that a little bit. A little bit will become a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. And just stick at it. Basically, don't stop. Just go on your bad days. Go on your good days. I use it as part of my routine. So, like my routine, as I go to work, when I go coming home from work, I go straight to the gym. So it's part of my routine in my head. I finish work at 5 p.m. in England, but in my head, my work day finishes about 6:30 p.m. because it's part of my routine. I go straight to the gym. My work day finishes at 6:30 p.m. roughly when I'm home from gym.
So it's like you get out of your physical job at 5, but your work day isn't over for another hour and a half because you got to go put that
Exactly.
time clock in.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, that makes sense, and I think you know, we're humans, we're creatures of pattern and routine, and I think
Yeah.
I always shied away from exercise, and it's like I just started recently, just like I said, understanding the mind and the body dynamic. I feel like that's another part of it. You know, if your mind is out of sync, then eventually your body's going to be out of sync, and so on and so forth. You know, it goes both ways with that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just people always say health's your biggest wealth, and I know it sounds a bit preachery, but like people don't tend to start taking it seriously till they get something
Till something happens.
serious wrong. Yeah, so it's like why not do it as when you're a bit younger and give yourself the best chance if something does serious come along, that you've got the best chance of doing whatever you need to do to fight it off because you're fit and healthy, if that makes sense.
So when you first started to when did you start seeing like progress? You know what I'm saying? When you first started going to the gym, when did you start seeing the progress? How long did that take?
I think you notice little progress a few months after because it's new. It's a shock to your body.
Right.
You think it's a big progress at the time, but looking back, it's probably not. It's probably like the littlest of differences, but you do see it straight away, and then you go through like after about a year, you do see a bit of a big difference, and then you go through like this rut where for months and months and months you just look the same.
Right.
And to some degree, you don't even notice it until like you see photos or something. You know what I mean? It's like people suddenly say, "Oh, you put size on," and then you notice from before and after photos on nights out or wherever you took your photo that you've actually put some size on. But to some degree, you stop noticing it, if that makes sense. It's like it's a bit body dysmorphia. You think you're not looking any bigger, and then you realise that you actually are when people comment or what have you.
Right.
It's like it's one of them.
For me, it's about motivation and sticking with it, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Griselda artwork, the Pray for Paris artwork. How did that come about?
When he announced the album, I had the idea of it just being on Jimmy Kimmel that went on where he was wearing the pink ski mask.
Right.
Yeah, I think they went on that, Griselda performing one of the tracks off their album. And he just announced that they were doing the Pray for Paris album. And I just had this concept come to my head straight away. I'd seen other artists get album covers just from doing other pictures of him, if that like doing drawings that I'd put on what have you. I thought I've got this good concept and I'm just gonna do it, see what happens. I did it and put it on Instagram, and loads of people were tagging him. I went to bed, woke up the morning after. He'd put it on his story. He'd commented on the post saying, "I need this for my art gallery." And then, it just kind of went from there. Loads of people were commenting saying, "Have you seen what's on Instagram and what have you?" And then I had a look and got in touch with his team, said I'd send it out. And then it kind of took a point where people thought it was going to be the album cover. I even thought it was going to be the album cover at one point. Like,
right.
It didn't actually say that, but he was just filming it that much. Like every time he put a story on with the merch, sending the merch out, he'd put the painting on in the background and stuff. So he was posting it like, I bet it was 2 or 3 times a week for about 2 months. So it was like, it gave me loads of people following me and paying attention to my artwork just from that.
Right.
And yeah, then he just basically, when he got the studio, I don't know where the studio is, where he got like the apartment, with all the artwork, it was above his TV, so people were still hitting me then saying, "Yo, we've seen that West Side Gun's got your artwork up next to Isaac Palo's artwork and all that," and it was like, yeah, it's like, so yeah, I owe a lot to Griselda really, and West Side Gun for putting my name out there. I started getting album covers already, but it kind of propelled it a little bit quicker just from that. I think it might have, like, you see people that get a Griselda cover and suddenly start getting out every cover. And I think if it had actually been the cover, maybe would have propelled me even quicker. But because it was just hung up in his house, a lot of people kind of got reminded every once in a blue moon, if that makes sense. It was a bit slower than, say, it became the cover, but it still definitely helped.
Nah, definitely. I remember seeing it, and you have a very distinct style, and it's very detailed. You know what I'm saying? And I remember seeing it and being like, "Yo, that's dope." And the cover that is probably my favorite. I know you did a ton. How many? By the way, how many pieces of art for albums did you do last year?
For last year, I did. I'd have to look again. 30 something altogether. I've done 96 now.
Let's go.
So in the since 2020, when I got my first one, I've done 96 covers.
Wow. How does that come about? Like when you're taking a commission, the artist is going to hit you up and they're going to tell you what they want, or do they ever give you like free range? Do they give you like maybe a outline of what they want and then you come up with something?
Yeah, some give me exactly what they want. I've just done one for Backward Sweetie. I don't know if you're familiar with her music. I've just done one for. Sure. Yeah, she's really good, and she gave me the exact concept that she wanted. Then I've got others like Vega 7, the Ronin. Are you familiar with him?
Yep, for sure.
The lead-lined wall he just basically told me that to go with whatever I wanted to go with. Works about 50-50. Some know exactly what they want. Some tell me to just do what I want from title, or I'll always present my idea to them first, because like I don't want to do it and them say, "No, that's crap." You know what I mean? I don't want to say that. So I'll always present my idea to them, show them the sketch of it, what I've sketched up, and then if they like it, I'll go from there.
Let me ask you this: what do you prefer, the free range, or do you prefer more of a guideline and a vision already?
I like both, to be honest. The thing I would say is I do like to have a bit of input, but the thing I would say is sometimes if it's an exact concept and it's not something you enjoy painting, then it does take you a bit more to get into it, if that makes sense. Right. Sometimes if you've got some kind of, even if you've got if it's your type of thing, or you've got a lot of input, then at least, you know, you're going to be really enjoying the artwork that you're doing. Doesn't mean it's going to turn out any worse, but enjoying it is obviously going to make you motivated to do it in the first place.
Right. It's for surely a big part of it. You know,
yeah, definitely.
That's why
definitely.
You started it. You know, that we
exactly.
To have these arts and these efforts for ourselves at first. You know, like we were talking about
before. Yeah. Luckily, a lot of people that come with concept ideas that aren't my ideas. Right. A lot of them come with really, really good concepts anyway. So that's been quite a bonus while I've been doing all this. It's like a lot come with really good ideas anyway, because they're all on a similar wavelength to me with what their interests are. And, you know, like a lot of the covers you see, they'll be action orientated or violence orientated, or like throwbacks to like 90s films and computer games, etc. So it's like a lot of things that people come with idea wise anyway. And some have seen my previous work and say, "I like that, what you did. Can you do something like this, but for me?" So it's like a lot see my previous work and go down them lines. So I think I'm quite lucky in the sense that a lot pick similar concepts to what I'd pick anyway, if that makes sense.
Right. Nah, it does make sense. The 99 album cover, what was the inspiration for that? Was that just
which one?
One of those commissions with the sheep and the mask, the sheep with the ski masks and the halos. What was they knew what they wanted?
Yeah, Shamir came and he knew what he wanted, but originally he said he sent me this photo. These sheep stood exactly how I ended up painting them.
Right.
He sent me a photo of the sheep and wanted me to paint over it just some, like, he didn't give me exact concept. He just said, like, hood designs, like things that you'd see, but make it a bit more hip hop. And then as time went on, he said that he wanted me to paint over the photo because it would be the black and white and colour aspect, so that the colour would really stand out. But he said he'd trust whatever I did. So I just thought, I'm not painting over that photo, so I'm just going to paint it. So yeah, I prefer painting it. I preferred doing it all myself, so I can see it's all my work, if that makes sense. So I just drew it all out, did all the bits that would have been photo in black and white, and then added things like the ski masks and jewelry and crosses and stuff, just to give it the aspect that he wanted.
I think it works perfectly. I love things like this. Just, the visual of it. I'm gonna on the YouTube version, I'll splice in a picture of the album cover. But it's just it's so gritty. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is gritty as fuck, bro. Like, it's 3 sheeps. It appears to be a mother sheep in the center, 2 baby sheeps on the side, right? They both, all 3 of them got ski masks on. They all skied up. The 2 little sheeps got shines on. They got chains hanging, and the one in the blue, who's probably the youngest one and is the monster of the fucking 3 of them, he got a halo over his head. Crazy, crazy, bro. That shit is fire.
There were a lot of religious aspects in the album. I don't know if you've heard the album.
I'm gonna check it out.
There's a lot of religious references, so that's why I wanted the sheep is something to do with 99 and the one sheep. I'm not as familiar with some of the religious things, but it's something to do with religion and 99, and then the one lost sheep and what have you. So that's why I wanted the sheep on the cover, and then we just went from there.
That's fire. One of my favorites was the Great God album cover with the wolf.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Yeah.
Tell me the story behind that.
So I ended up getting quite a few commissions with PR Dean, who was Great God's manager at the time, and basically he was trying to get the deluxe album on vinyl or CD or cassette, and he asked me to do the deluxe cover, based quite similar to the original cover that was on Spotify and everything. And that already had a wolf on there, so I just went with it and did my thing and changed it quite a lot, so it was my style. Have you seen the original on Spotify?
I haven't. I have not.
So it's got it's got like a wolf's head on it, but it's all like cracked into the background. It's barely noticeable. I did it more noticeable and changed it quite a lot and put a lot of like my stamp on it. And but I did quite a few for him. So when I was doing the artwork for PR Dean, I did 3 more for Great God. I think he's going to use some at some point. He said one of them might be getting used for one of his EPs, and I did a cover for Joey Majors with the game, the Joey Majors deluxe album cover, which has also got a wolf like vibe to it. It's called Wolf in Sheep Clothing. Did portrait of Joey Majors, and then like his eyes like a wolf's eye. So I did the deluxe version to that. So I ended up doing about 7, 8 maybe covers for PR Dean with Great God and Joey Majors.
Right, from that camp. Why the wolf speaks to me, it's got a very vintage kind of like old school art look compared to some of the rest of your work. You know what I'm saying? When I saw it, I was like, yo, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
If you had to say, and we'll go with last year. What was your favorite piece of last year, or what was the piece that you had the most fun creating?
Let me have a think. So I've done quite a few what aren't even out yet, so it's hard to. But last year, do you know when you've done that many, they all kind of blur into one.
For sure.
Like,
if somebody asked me what my favorite track was,
it's from what I've done in what year, if that makes sense. I really enjoyed the Snotty one because I'd not done any umbrella covers for quite a while at that point.
Gotcha.
Kind of opened that door back up for me. So I really enjoyed doing the snotty one. There was one called Mask Covered Faces, which was Holy Smokes, producer, and two MCs called G Mills and Raw Leaf. And that had like a really trippy background to it. So the sky was green, the grass was purple, and they all had masks on. So the mask, I don't know if you remember the Mask cartoon from the 80s.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. Jim Carrey. And
Yeah.
Right.
So, no. Before that, there was an actual cartoon in the 80s, and it was a bit like G.I. Joe. So, it was a bit like G.I. Joe action cartoon, but they all wore masks, basically. So, yeah, it's a bit like Transformers and everything. And when they went out into battle, they all had these big metal masks that came down. And I put the metal masks, 3 of the metal masks on the cover. So G-Mills, Holy Smokes, and Raleigh were all wearing these metal masks on the cover because the group is called Mask Covered Faces. So I suggested, I was like, do you know this cartoon from 80s? If I go with that, are you happy? And they said, yeah. So I went with that. And that's probably one of the least known albums, but probably one of the best. They're all from Baltimore, and it's just a really good album and a really good cover. I really enjoyed doing it.
Listen, shout out to them. Take me through your process when it comes to commission. So I'm an artist. I hit you up. Do I send you like the album, the music that I'm working on, and do you paint to the music, or is it just strictly this is what I see for the album cover?
No, they don't always send me the album. Sometimes they've not even done the album yet. They just know that they're doing the album. This is what the concept is. But I have to like the musician, so I can't just say yeah to anybody. Obviously, I don't know what the album's going to turn out like necessarily because I might not have heard it. But if they hit me and I've not heard of them, I'll say give me a few hours to go away and listen to some music. Come back to you. 9 times out of 10 I've heard of them, but sometimes obviously there's some that I've not heard of. It's one of them where there's that many people releasing music where you can't have heard of everybody. It's pretty impossible. So like a few times they have hit me up and I've not heard of them, and then I go away and listen, and then I become a big fan of them, and then I end up. But I do always listen to their music while I'm painting. Right. So if they've already got music out, I'll listen to that while I'm painting.
Right. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. One of the covers I did last year was for Bro God. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but I wasn't. Bro God. So God spelt the same as Great God, GAWD, but then it's Bro, BRO, God, and it's from somewhere in New York. I can't remember exactly where. And he hit me. I'd not heard of him. Went and listened to his music, and it absolutely blew me away. And then I did a cover for him. So like. There's situations where I've not heard of them, and then I was like, how have I not heard of them?
Right. Have there been times where it's like, somebody will come up to you and they'll ask you for something, you check their music out, and their music is fucking horrible?
A few times, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you politely decline, or because you said one of the prerequisites is, I have to enjoy your music for the art to really flow.
Yeah. End of the day, it's your brand, isn't it? I think more musicians should do it as well, because obviously, I know musicians are just trying to make the money. Same way other artists probably don't turn commissions away. But yeah, I think people should, because it's the brand at the end of the day. And if you're doing something that's you're not going to promote, you're not going to like, what's the point? If that makes sense. So yeah, I have had to turn people away and say now I've had a few auto-tune type rappers come to me, and I'm like, I really don't listen to auto-tune. It's not my thing. But yeah, there were one where it was a UK rapper, and they were really pushing for me to do this cover, and I was like, nah, it's not my thing. And then they were at it, and I did eventually have to be a bit abrupt with him and say like, nah, I don't think you're good. You're not my thing. I think your fucking music's horrible, type of thing. They were like, but I was trying to be polite at first, but they wouldn't let it go, and they were like, what do you mean? I sound very good. I was like, nah, you ain't got a voice for rap music. You're not good, sorry, but you're not. Right, so it was one of them where
we live in a time, man, where everybody thinks they could go. We live in a time where everybody thinks they could go, man.
Yeah. So yeah. Most of the time, it's quite a polite exchange, and I'm just like, yeah, it's not for me. But sometimes it has to go down a different route because they might be quite pushy and really want you to do it. But yeah, it's not very often because I do try and find. I've always been one of these where I'll always try and find the good in hip hop music. So I'm not one of these negative people that like to pull music to bits. I'm always one of these where I'll always try and find the good stuff in hip hop because even on a bad album, there might be one good track. Yeah, but I do have to really vibe with it to really want to do the cover.
Right. I'm not into tearing people down for their art either.
No.
A lot of the time, especially on the internet, it's easy for people to spurt these opinions, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
some people can let it roll off their shoulders, other people can't. And I see a lot of critics, whatever, people comments, and it's like they're tearing somebody down, but because they don't like what they did, they don't like the effort they've put forward. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, these same people who are tearing these people down don't do anything. They contribute zero
exactly.
to the shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I get what
But
you're
like
saying.
even auto tune, it's like there's a lot of people out there that like auto tune. I just personally don't. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's just not for me.
Right.
So it's like I choose not to work with people that do that type of music because it's not for me. It's not the style of hip hop music I grew up on. It's not the style of hip hop I like to listen to. So I just don't do it.
Right. Let me ask you this. Is there a piece of art that you sent out that you were just not happy with, and every time you see it, you kind of say, I should have done this or I should have done that. I feel like that's with every artist, whatever you're creating. But is there one? Not specifically, but is there one? You know what I'm saying when you think of it?
Yeah, I did one for one of the magazine covers I did,
Right.
and it was I did something that's not something I would normally do because I wanted to try a different style for that particular painting. And I wasn't sure even when I'd finished it. I still wasn't sure about it when I sent it to him, but the musician loved it, the magazine loved it, the musician asked for it. So obviously it was one that was really appreciated by other people. And the more I look at it, the more I've grown to it as well. But at the time I was like, I'm really not sure about this one, which was the house shoes painting. Okay. Don't know if you saw that one. So I did one for house shoes, and he was on the cover of one of the Underground Vault magazines, and it was really bright colours. So I don't know if you've seen it on my story, and I think it was really bright colours. Like even the skin colour was like bright green, oranges, and it's not something I normally do. So even when I'd finished it, I was so like, I'm not sure about this. So I sent it to him, and the guy that runs the magazine, it's called Alex, he absolutely loved it. So I'm like, fair enough, if you like it, we'll go with it. And then House Shoes absolutely loved it. Like I said, the more I look at it now, the more I think it was just because it was out of my comfort zone and I was trying something new that initially I wasn't sure about it. And also abstract stuff. So I've done a few abstract designs, and they take less skill to do an abstract design. There's not really many details. You're just splashing paint about, basically. And every time I do an abstract design, I have to be like, I'm like, does that look good? And I have to actually take myself away from the piece. I have to go away from the piece, come back about an hour later, have a look at it, like walk into the mirror room where I paint and think, just walk in, yeah, it does actually look good, but I have to take myself away from it because it takes me, because it's not actually any details as such. It's just different shapes and colours and paints. It's like I have to take myself away from it and walk back to it. So it's like a shock to my brain again, if that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, it does look good. But yeah, there is some like that, but not many. 9 times out of 10, once I've done a painting, I'm getting right into it while I'm painting.
So by the time you send it off, you're like, yeah, this is a bomb. I'm sending a bomb back. Right.
Yeah, exactly that, Yeah, I get right into it while I'm painting with music on and that. And I'm like, yeah, this is one of them covers that people are going to love 9 times out of 10.
Nah, for real, bro. And listen, the shit it's your style. It's very unique, man. It's very unique, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like a red car in amongst a sea of gray. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna spot it. You can be like, okay. I already know Craig Dyer did that shit, and it's off the chain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I see you have tattoos. I don't have a tattoo. What was the first of all, what was your first tattoo? and then after that, I'm gonna ask you another question about tattoos.
Yeah. My first few tattoos were tribal designs because obviously in '90s tribal tattoos were big. And the first one I actually
Right.
had,
It was big.
the first one I had was in the middle of my back, and it was one I'd seen in Source magazine that Busta Rhymes had got. I was 16 years old. So Busta Rhymes had this tattoo on his back, but I didn't want it all. There was part in it, so I took part in it, changed it, took a little part of it that I liked, changed it, and made it my own. And that was the first design I had on my back. And I wish I'd never had it. Tribal design now, it's like I don't like it at all. But yeah. But I've put all stuff around it. I've put roses in it, and I've took stuff out. It put shading through it, and it's bearable. But I wish I'd not got it.
Now, being an artist, what is your mindset when you're like, I want to get a new piece? So you're not doing the tattooing obviously on yourself,
No.
but what is the like? If you want something, you're gonna get it. What is like what's the mental of it? Being an artist, knowing like because you just mentioned like shading and stuff like that.
Yeah. I've the tattoo artist I've gone to for my last 5, 6, 7 tattoos has been the same tattoo artist. I really like his work. But you do get stuff where it's not as good as you thought it were going to be, but it becomes quite normal. It's like when you look at yourself every day in the mirror, it just becomes your skin, if that makes sense. It's like,
right.
It just becomes normal. So, but the tattoo artist I've gone to recently is really good, and I tend to stick with a theme. So, like on one arm, I've got all old school designs. I really like old school tattoos, like your roses and skulls and stuff like that. So, one arm, I've got all that, and then on my leg, I've got all musicians that have passed away.
Right.
So, I kind of always,
that was a dope
yeah.
piece.
I want my other leg doing the same because there's a lot of musicians that I really like that's no longer here since I've had that leg done. So I do want my other leg done eventually, but just finding the free time, and it adds up. It's quite costly. So especially with how much I like buying music and vinyl and what have you, it's like, do I want to have a few hours in tattooist and it be like, I don't know what £500-600? That's probably about $800-900 in your money.
Right.
So it's like, I will go eventually get the other leg done, but it's just finding the free time and money to get it done.
No, I hear that, man. I hear that. I want tattoos, man. I definitely want to get one. I just, like you said, it's other things that come up, and for me, it's like I don't like needles. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how I'm gonna handle that. But a lot of people I talk to, are like, man, just try it. Once you get your first one, it's usually the door usually opens for more ideas and stuff like that.
It's not like a real needle, so it's not like a proper needle. It doesn't go fully in. It's not like doesn't feel like you're getting an injection.
Right.
Like when you have to go to the doctors and have some kind of injection, it doesn't feel the same because it's just like doing the first few layers of your skin, so it like scars you type of thing. So it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't look the same. So it still might be a bit to get your head round if you don't like needles, but it's not the same feeling or look.
It's something different. Yeah, it's something totally different.
Yeah.
When it comes to shading, people tell me that shading is usually the worst. How do you feel about that?
I think that the outline's worst. I hate the outline. Because the outline's I think the outline's normally like one needle, and it feels like you kind of get in like a scalpel across you, like someone's...
Right, like they're dragging it across your skin, right?
Yeah. Whereas the shading's normally about, I don't know exactly, but about 10 needles at once, and it's more soothing. It doesn't really hurt as much. It's just like a warm feeling.
Right.
I can sit there all day for the shading. It's the outline I don't like. But then as it gets to the end of the shading, say you've been in the chair about 6-7 hours, it starts getting too warm. Your skin's getting warm, very warm. But for the most part,
you've had a 6-hour session before?
Yeah, nearly every one of the portraits I've got on my leg. So nearly every one of the portraits is about 4 hours just on its own.
I used to get my hair braided. I used to have longer hair. I used to get my hair braided. So I know what it's like to sit.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Sitting there for 4 or 5 hours.
I'm going to get a tattoo.
With stiff backs and what have you. It is quite difficult, but it's worth it.
I don't know, man. I'm apprehensive about it, but I got to do it. I want to do it. It's one of those things I want to do, and I have a feeling that once I get that first step. Once I take that first step, I'll be fine. I want to talk
Yeah,
about football because I remember you saying that you played for two leagues, two different leagues.
Yeah, I only play for one now, but I used to play 4 times a week in 4 different leagues, basically soccer leagues. Yeah.
Oh wow, four
So I
times
used
a
to
week in
play
different leagues. That's
playing on a Sunday. We had Sunday league football here, so it's like amateur football. And I used to play on a Sunday at 11 aside, and then I used to play 3 times a week, six aside football.
what does that mean when you say that? I'm not too. I don't understand what that means between the.
So your normal soccer's 11v11,
Okay,
but then they do smaller leagues where it's 6v6, and
gotcha.
the time length of the game's only half an hour, where a normal game's 90 minutes. So the games are shorter. There's less people on the pitch, but it's more full throttle. So because it's a smaller game and there's less people on the pitch, it's like more energetic. You've got the ball constantly, type of thing.
Right.
So it's kind of like if you did basketball and it was just like a 2-on-2 or something like that. It's like it's just a smaller kick around, and it's a proper league, but it's 6v6.
Got you. That makes sense. I know that it's when we were over there, we just noticed it's like such a big part of the country.
Yeah.
What is, like, if you had to say, like, what is your league, the major league that you follow?
Yeah, I follow Premier League, so I watch the Premier League, which I watch Arsenal. The team I like is Arsenal.
Okay.
So I watch the Premier League in England.
Right. So now, is that like, I know that a lot of times it'll be the whole town or the whole section that is for this one team. Is that something like, is your devotion to Arsenal something that was passed down? Like, did your pops follow Arsenal and stuff like that?
No. I'm from the teams where I live is Sheffield teams, so it's like Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United. They're the main teams, but it does as much as some people support the teams in the local area, a lot don't as well. So a lot just end up going and supporting who they liked at the time. My older brother decided he was going to be an Arsenal fan when I was about 4 or 5, and I just kind of copied him.
Right.
Copied him and did the same thing. And then as I was starting to watch Arsenal, I became like a real fan and liked the striker we've got called Ian Wright. He's quite a big celebrity now. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's like does a lot of hosting, presenting, and things like that now. So he's all over the TV. He's in that new. Do you know the new film with Kano in it? The Kitchen.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the trailer for that, man.
Yeah,
I've seen the promos. Yeah.
Yeah, so the guy that's in like the DJ booth with the flat cap on, that's Ian Wright. He used to be a footballer.
Okay.
So yeah, he played for Arsenal, and I just kind of stuck with it from watching Ian Wright and Arsenal play. I kind of stuck with that team, and it's just gone through life with it now.
Do you go to the games? Will you go to an Arsenal game or no?
No, I've been to about 4 or 5 games because I live quite far away from London.
Okay.
I catch most of the games on TV. Gotcha. So yeah, but I've been to a few games in my lifetime, but not many.
Can you speak to the football hooligan aspect of life or the lifestyle out there?
I know about it, but I've never done it because like my team's not even local.
Okay, gotcha.
So
you're not participating in the local games. I understand.
People that do that tend to be from the areas and really take it. Just go for that reason, basically. So it'd be like Sheffield Wednesday versus Sheffield United or whatever. But I've always supported a team that was far away, so no, I've never needed to get into it. I never really wanted to either, to be honest. As much as I didn't mind a scrap, didn't mind fighting growing up. It's like fighting over football. It's not my thing.
Right. If we're gonna fight, it's gonna be over something legitimate.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I understand it, man. We don't necessarily have like groups of people. We have groups of people that attend games and they fight and all that, but I don't think it's as prevalent as it is over there. But we do have just, crazy motherfuckers that'll show up to the game and start shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it used to be really serious, like in 80s and 90s, I think. there were no cameras about and stuff. So I think it was like a real serious thing. It's not as it still exists now, but a lot of stuff that starts don't really materialise. Like they want to have this fight or whatever, but it don't really materialise because of police and cameras. They're just there within seconds.
Yo,
so it's like
CCTV is
yeah.
crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I was watching this one shit for we're gonna go over the two things that I was watching. I was watching this something about drunk people over there, right? Nightlife over there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yo, they got people at the station at the command center, people just watching the cameras, and they'll be like, yo,
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
yeah.
a drunk motherfucker on the corner over here. And then the next thing you know, the fucking cops is running down on motherfuckers, arresting them and all that, bro. I'm like, oh.
It's not even worth getting into shit anymore. It's like, you've got no way out. There's no way to say that weren't me. You're on camera. It's like, no, there's no point. You may as well just keep your son to yourself. Keep your head down.
Oh, for real. Stay in the house. You know
yeah.
Oh, man. Another one I was watching. So we got repo men over here, right? Like,
yeah.
If we fuck up and we don't pay, or like your car note or something like that, and you leave it parked where they could get it, they might come and try to tow your shit away, right?
Yeah, we've got them here.
I was watching this one shit called, yo, if you can't pay, we're going to take away. And I'm like, yo, I clicked this shit. I'm like, what is that? And bro, it was crazy to me because they knocked on the door. They was like, oh, yo, you owe this, and that. And the person tried to close the door. It's like, yeah, nah, stuck his foot in the door. Boom. I'm like, oh shit. Like, first of all, over here, that would be a sign to escalate it to the highest caliber of confrontation, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, they really went in there and they was like, nah, you owe this. We taking your fucking TV. We're taking your Xbox. Like, yo, it was wild, bro. I was like,
yeah. Basically, like whatever there's in the house that can pay the debt off. Yeah, it's crazy. And we don't have like they do
like some
in America. Yeah, in America, like you've got gun crime, so you've got guns. Sorry, we don't have guns over here. So, well, we do now apparently, but it didn't used to be a thing. So, going into your houses, it's probably going to be a different thing to going into UK houses. It's like nobody had guns, so it's like going into a UK house, it's going to be a fist fight at most. You know what I mean? It's like
right. I can't
you
imagine.
Try going in.
I'm like,
yeah,
I can't imagine somebody in Texas. Try to go to somebody in Texas house and try to take their fucking big screen TV.
Yeah, something will be pulled straight away. But we don't have that over here. So yeah,
it's crazy because we were in Birmingham and we were just in the street. We were in the street like off the main road, and we were smoking. Right, we were smoking some bud, and a fucking cop breezed through on a bike. He breezed through on a bike and he saw us. I guess he smelled the weed. He spun back around. He was like, yo, you guys got to put it out. We was like, all right. He left. Boom. He came back again because we ain't put it out, right? He came back again. He was like, yo, I'm not going to tell you again. You got to put it out. Left again. Boom. The third time, because we ain't put it out. Third time he came back. He's like, yo, I'm not playing. Blah, blah, blah. And the dude we was with was like, nah, we got to put it out because if he calls the next level of police, it's going to be some shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's even police don't really do much over here, to be fair. You could tell them that, like, oh yes, someone's broke into my house. Like, well, right, no worries, fill out this form. That's about it. Don't do that jack shit.
What do you want us to do about it?
Yeah.
Shit, it's like that some places over here too, man.
Yeah.
You know, law enforcement. Let me ask you this: what is your favorite food to eat in your country?
There's a lot of foods I like. I really like Italian food. Love pizzas. Love Indian food. Going to an Indian restaurant, having a curry. I'm a proper foodie, so you've probably seen when I post on my stories and stuff, I go out for food quite regular, so I love food. I love a full cooked English breakfast. Don't know if you've had one while you've been here.
Oh man, so we had one at the hotel. But the first time I had an English breakfast, there was a bar downstairs from where my dad lived. And I went in there and I was like, yo, what is all of this? Because like it's eggs, bacon, sausage, beans, tomatoes, and black pudding, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the black pudding was. I never really had tomatoes with my breakfast before. I never had beans with my breakfast before. I'm like, yo, this is fine.
Yeah, it's
You know, so yeah, I definitely.
Yeah, and we have a full roast here as well, which I really like. So like on a Sunday dinner, you have a Sunday roast, which is one of your meats, whatever you choose that you're going to have roasted in oven for quite a while, with then like mashed tatties, roasters, Yorkshire puddings, gravy, which is also a really good English dinner.
I didn't get fish and chips when I was over there, man, and I kicking myself ever since, bro. Ever since. I really wanted to go because I seen this one spot.
Do you not have fish and chips there?
We do, but it's not like that. It's not like that. No, we do. It's not like that. You know, it's just different. And every time I go on Instagram and I see how they do it over there, I'm like, damn, I really missed out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the fish and chips are way better looking.
Did you go to Manchester when you did a UK tour?
No, we didn't get a chance to because we were on like a 7-day schedule. So we landed in London and we went to Birmingham. We stayed in Birmingham for a couple of days. Then we went to London. We went back to London. Then we went to Leeds and then back to Birmingham, and we flew out of London on the 7th.
Right, okay.
So we didn't really have too much time to move around, but I definitely wanted to get there.
Yeah, there's a place.
Definitely a return trip.
There's a place in Manchester called the Hip Hop Chip Shop, which is it's got all hip hop based posters and stuff in the chip shop, but then it's still a chippy basically, which is pretty cool. A lot of people perform there,
lit, bro.
Yeah, a lot of people perform there. They have live events there as well. It's not a big venue, but a lot of people go there and perform. That's in Manchester. That's really good.
Yeah, that sounds like a vibe, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll tell you what, man, for sure. We trying to make our way back out there. It's 2024. I'm definitely trying to at least have the flights booked by the end of this year.
Yeah.
To get back out there. And when we do get back out there, when we touch down, we tapping in with you, bro, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I keep saying I need to come out there. It's just finding
bro. If you touch down out here, bro, you wouldn't have enough time to see everybody.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have enough time to tap in with everybody that got to tap in with you, bro. It would be crazy.
I got asked to do a show about a year back. I got asked to do a show with Jake in The Divine. He did an art show for one of his albums, but it was like about a month's notice, and I couldn't do it that short notice with work and finding the money to get over as well, because it's not a cheap flight for UK to US. So yeah, it's like I can, like European holidays, I can go on about 3-4 European holidays for the same price. It's like finding the money that short notice and the time off work, I couldn't do it, but it's something I do want to do. I want to get out there and link up with loads of people that I've done artwork for and what have you. So I do need to do it eventually.
That would be fire, bro. Nah, real talk. It's needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, I can't put the person to the artwork, if that makes sense.
Right. I think with the rise of the internet, it's wonderful that you can make the worldwide connections that you've made, but like you also said, it speaks to not having the human connection there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So have you ever been able to create, like, with an artist in your area, like sit down with them and maybe start painting with them there? Has that ever happened?
I've worked with a few musicians, like the one I've done artwork for in Sheffield, but I don't actually sit down with them as such. I still do it on my own vibe in my own space. But I have worked with local artists that do as well. If any of the musicians I've done artwork for come to the UK, I'm definitely going to make sure I link up with them, as well as trying to get out there.
Nah, listen, ROT needs a cover from you, man. ROT needs a cover from you for sure, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll talk about that after this, you know what I'm saying? But man, I think a trip out here would be most definite. And when we stop through, we definitely got to spin past your area, say what up to you, see what's going on.
It's one of them. Yeah, it's the same as what you've just said. It's like something we in the next year that I really want to try and do, but see how things go and how things pan out. Just to know how life is, but yeah, it's something that I definitely want to try and get done and get out there.
Nah, for sure. Listen, brother, we're gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you taking the time out, and it's life is hectic, bro, and you're a busy man, and I really do appreciate you taking the time out.
Yeah, no problem at all. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, brother. It means the most when
big salute to you, my G, for real.
Salute to you both of you too.
and we can have a good conversation. It means the most to me. You know
No
what I'm
problem
saying?
at all. No problem
But
at all. I like what you're doing.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much, man. For any promotions you want to give, any shout outs you want to give before we get out of here, now's the time.
Yeah, shout outs I'll be here all day, to be fair.
Right,
But
yo, it'd be at least 93. It'd be at least 93.
Yeah, a few guys I'm working with recently. Know It All, Action Figure, Eric the Red,
Yup.
Morning Run. I'm working with a few of these guys at the minute. So yeah, Backwood Sweetie. It's, I've got these guys' music recently, and they all like what I'm doing. So we'll see where that takes us in the next few months.
That's awesome. We just had Action on the show last
So,
week, I believe. And
yeah.
Man, they Eric the Red as well, a couple weeks before him, and they speak nothing but high praise of you. And yeah, man, I can't wait to see what you continue to do. And good time for good music. It's a good time for good music.
Yeah, I do like building with people. So people that I've just found out about when they're not really taken off yet, and kind of building with them and to the same point, if that makes sense. I do like that. I've always enjoyed doing. So hopefully that happens with these guys as well.
Nah, for sure. Everybody you just mentioned they grinders, and they've got trajectory. What is any ats or socials that we can find you at?
Yeah, so Instagram, I'm CD Inc. Dyer. Twitter, I'm Dyer_Dyer. And then if you put C Dyer Art and Designing on Facebook, it also brings up my art page on there as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Listen, this is the gray area. I'm MOD. Guru Dane is with me as always.
Salute.
We had Craig Dyer with us tonight. It was a great conversation. You already know what it is. We appreciate you tapping in. And like always, at the end of every session, support the art. You understand me? Support the art. You an artist, hit him up. If you fire though, you gotta be fire though. If you trash, bro, if you're trash, don't even waste your time. All right? He gonna let you down politely. I'm gonna tell you the real. If you're garbage, my nigga, and you know you're garbage, if you trash, do not even type the message. You understand me? But if you fire, if you got that work, if you cooking up, yo, tap in with my man, pay the ticket, support the art. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what it's all about. It's about community. You know what I'm saying? This is
Definitely.
The gray area, like I said. I'm MOD. Yo, Craig, man, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Listen, we appreciate you. Peace.
Peace.